Welcome back, Endgame community. It's Chris, and today I'm going to give you some players I think you should be trying to buy low and sell high. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with our first player. I'm going to give you a buy low, and that is Calvin Ridley. A lot of people really down on Calvin Ridley because they had such high expectations for him, right? But he hasn't really been that bad. He's had 8 or more targets in every game he's played. He's had double-digit targets in the last 3. I know the Falcons' offense hasn't been great, but Calvin Ridley has been just fine. Also missed week 5 for personal reasons. So whoever has Calvin Ridley may be a little panicked right now. Heading into the team's week 6 bye, I think this is a great opportunity to go out and see if you can get Calvin Ridley on the relatively cheap. Because again, expectations were a lot higher than what he's produced. He's got this, mysterious personal matter thing going on and the bye week. That all lines up for a perfect opportunity to go out and get Calvin Ridley on the relatively cheap. And if you're looking for somebody, to potentially offer, I would look at a running back kind of in that Joe Mixon range who has more perceived value than they really have and could probably get you Calvin Ridley. All right, now let's switch to a sell high player, and that's Nick Chubb. And I've been talking about selling Nick Chubb since the offseason, really, right? Because in PPR formats, Nick Chubb is very touchdown dependent. I know he's coming off a monster week 5, and that's the perfect opportunity to sell him because this guy does not catch passes in PPR leagues. And we've seen what happens on those weeks, where he doesn't run for 150 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns. He gets you 8, 9, 10 fantasy points, and that's about it. Now, I'm not saying go trade Nick Chubb for like a halfway decent wide receiver or an RB2, but Nick Chubb is viewed as a first-round absolute fantasy football stud. So if you can go trade him for a better running back, which is probably going to be unlikely, but if you could trade him for a stud wide receiver, a top 5 wide receiver, maybe a guy like Mike Williams, somebody like that who is tearing it up and looks like they're going to be an absolute beast this year, I would definitely get rid of Nick Chubb because, again, with his lack of work in the passing game in PPR formats, that hurts his overall floor. And on the weeks where he doesn't score, he's not really going to give you a super high floor or a super high ceiling. So I would absolutely be trying to sell Nick Chubb right now while his value is at an all-time high. Hey guys, real quick, if you're enjoying the video, I just ask you take a second, hit that thumbs up. Really appreciate it. All right, let's stick with running backs and talk about another buy low, and that's Darrell Henderson of the Rams. Look, people are going to see what happened on Thursday night. They're going to see Sonny Michel came in. Darrell Henderson didn't play 90% of the snaps, but he left that game for a while with an injury, came back in, and down the stretch, when the game was on the line, he was the guy getting all the run, and I believe he will still be the guy getting all the run. This is a guy who's been playing close to 90% of the snaps when he's healthy, getting almost all the running back touches. And it's just hard to find guys like that in today's NFL and in today's fantasy football. So a guy like that is so valuable, but I feel like his value, the perception of his value is still very low. So I would absolutely be going out trying to get Darrell Henderson. I think if you have a solid but not great, wide receiver, maybe like a Michael Pittman type, somebody like that who's good and serviceable, but not an elite stud wide receiver, I'd absolutely be trying to get Darrell Henderson right now, especially if you need a running back. And we all need running backs these days, right? All right, let's move on to another sell high wide receiver, Robert Woods. I'm always a fan of trying to trade a guy who had, high hopes coming into the offseason, got off to a bad start, finally had a great game, and now people think, okay, he's back. Robert Woods is back. Well, look, is Robert Woods going to be as bad as he was the first 4 weeks? Probably not. Is he going to be as good as he was in week 5? Probably not. But here's the thing. You can now trade this guy to somebody who believes that maybe the first 4 weeks were just a fluke. And, because this was a guy who was being drafted as a top 15 wide receiver. So they might think the first 4 weeks were a fluke and week 5 is more what we're going to see from Robert Woods. But I think we're going to see more Cooper Kupp down the road here. I think Robert Woods will be okay, but he's not going to be anywhere close to what he was in week 5. And you have a chance now to trade him and get something really good back for him. In fact, if you could trade Robert Woods and get Darrell Henderson, I think that would be a great trade for you because you're getting, an every snap running back for a very volatile wide receiver who probably will never come close to what he did in week 5 again this year. Guys, real quick, I just want to let you know, we need your support. We need your help. We have a Patreon account. Not only can you help support the channel and help us grow and create more videos and answer more comments and create more content, but you also get a ton of cool stuff as well. And the price is insanely low, less than a cup of coffee a month. So check that out. Link in the description below. We appreciate all of you. Let's head back to the buy lows. Running back Javonte Williams. Been talking about him all offseason. This is a guy who I think is going to come on down the stretch and be a league winner. And it looks like it may be happening, right? He's starting to get a little bit more run than Melvin Gordon. It's not significant. It's not a huge amount, right? It's not like he's dominating the snaps, but that's why this is the time you need to go try to trade for him, because whoever has Javonte Williams may see him on his bench every week getting 8 points, 7 points, 9 points and think, this guy's worthless, right? Maybe not worthless, but this guy just really isn't going to help my team. He's not going to crack my lineup. That's when you pounce. So take a wide receiver 3 on your team who's been halfway decent, maybe like a Corey Davis type of guy, somebody like that. Go trade him for Javonte Williams, put him on your bench, and you'll have that league winner down the stretch when it happens. Moving on to another sell high, Adam Thielen. Wow, bad couple of weeks here, but his name alone gives him a ton of value. But I have concerns for him. Number one, Kirk Cousins coming back down to earth. Hasn't been as good as he was the first few weeks. Number two, it's obvious Justin Jefferson is the alpha stud target hog receiver there. So that doesn't leave a lot for Adam Thielen. Now, this is a guy who people think, he catches a ton of touchdowns, even though he hasn't had a touchdown in the last 2 games. They think, he's very safe, but he really hasn't been. He still has a ton of perceived value, though, and he's a guy I would be looking to deal if I had him. And again, I think Darrell Henderson, I'm going to keep bringing up Darrell Henderson's name, but I think he's a great trade target. If you have Adam Thielen and you need a running back, go trade Adam Thielen for Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson, an every down running back, much more valuable than a wide receiver like Adam Thielen. And we could have seen the best of Adam Thielen, right? He started off the season pretty hot, catching touchdowns, but now he's cooled off. And I don't know if that trend's going to change, especially with Justin Jefferson just balling out right now and Cousins regressing. So go trade Adam Thielen while you can, while his name value still gives him tons of perceived value. All right, guys, before I get to the last 2 players, I do want to let you know down below in the description, we have a link to our free Discord server. You absolutely want to get in there. Great discussion all week long. You can ask any questions you want. Plus, game days are a blast. Check it out. All right, one more buy low, and it's Dalvin Cook. And that name may surprise you, but trust me, I hear a lot from people who are panicking about Dalvin Cook right now, right? Had the ankle issue, missed a game, came back, only played 50% of the snaps, didn't look good, missed another game. People are freaking out that this might be a long-term thing, that this might affect his entire season. It won't. Will it affect him in the short term? It may. Will it affect him long-term when it matters in the fantasy playoffs? Probably not. So go trade for Dalvin Cook, because unlike in the early in the season when he was almost untradeable, there's a window right now. Now, granted, not everybody's going to want to part with Dalvin Cook, but there is a window right now. So if you could trade a guy like Nick Chubb coming off a monster game for Dalvin Cook, who maybe the player who has Dalvin Cook thinks, oh man, this is going to be a lingering thing. I don't want to deal with this. Just give me Nick Chubb. Take it and run. Now, this is going to be a hard guy to trade for because he still has a ton of value, but it's always worth finding out if the player in your league who has Dalvin Cook is nervous right now. Go put out a trade offer. Don't completely lowball him, but go put out a trade offer and see if you can get Dalvin Cook, which could completely change the outlook of your fantasy team. And then finally, I have a tight end sell high, and I know it's hard to trade a tight end in this landscape, but Darren Waller just hasn't been the Darren Waller we expected so far this year. And I get it. He's still an every week must start tight end, but he also comes with a ton of trade value because people in your league who don't have a tight end would love to have Darren Waller and don't realize maybe that he's not getting the target share we saw last year, right? We've seen more Hunter Renfrow. We've seen more Henry Ruggs. We've seen more Bryan Edwards. This isn't just the Darren Waller show anymore. Now, look, I think Darren Waller is going to be fine, and I still think he's going to be good. But if you could trade Darren Waller to a team who, let's say they have like a decent tight end, like a Mike Gesicki or somebody like that who's serviceable. If you could trade him for one of those type of tight ends and get a stud running back or wide receiver in return, I would absolutely do that right now because I just don't think Darren Waller is going to have that incredible upside that we saw last year. I just don't. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen for him with the way this offense is rolling right now. So, look, I get it. It's hard to part with a tight end when there's no tight ends out there, but this is one time I would because you can sell him at his absolute highest. Well, maybe not his absolute highest, but his value is still incredibly high, and you can get a great receiver or running back in return, and maybe even get a halfway decent tight end in return, or just go to the waiver wire, see who's there, and grab a tight end off waiver wire. All right, so those are my top buy lows and sell highs heading into week 6. I want to hear from you now. Who are some players you're trying to trade for or trying to trade away? Drop a comment. I'll respond and let you know what you should do. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, we'd appreciate it. That Patreon link down below, and also the free Discord server. You absolutely want to join the Discord server. It's free and it's awesome. All right, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.